If you have ever stood in front of the mirror after a haircut and felt, not refreshed, not beautiful, but somehow heavier, older, like something was quietly working against you, I want you to stop right now and take a breath. Because that feeling was never about you. It was about the cut. And today that changes. The right haircut does not just change how you look. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes how people notice you, how they respond to you, and most importantly, how you feel about yourself every single morning. It is not a small thing. It is everything. Welcome to Timeless Wisdom Path. I am so glad you found your way here today. In this video, we are walking through 7 of the most rejuvenating, facelifting, genuinely transformative haircuts available right now for women over 60. Each one of these styles has been chosen with careful intention. Styles that add volume where it has faded, that lift the face naturally, that work beautifully with silver, white, and salt and pepper hair, and that make every woman who wears them look effortlessly rich and elegant. That I want you to stay until the very end, because the final 2 cuts on this list are ones that most women have never even considered. And they may just be the most surprising and beautiful of all. Let us begin. Soft layered bob that frames your face. There is something genuinely magical about a well-cut bob on a woman over 60. Not just any bob, the kind with soft, cascading layers that move with you, that catch the light, that make people look twice and quietly wonder what your secret is. This haircut has been a beloved classic for decades, and right now, it is having a powerful and well-deserved renaissance. The soft layered bob falls somewhere between the chin and the collarbone, and that length is absolutely ideal for mature women. It draws the eye upward, toward your face, your eyes, your smile, your expression. It does not pull the face down the way longer, heavier hair tends to do. It lifts everything naturally, without a single filler or a single procedure. It is one of the most quietly rejuvenating lengths you can ask for at the salon. What makes this cut truly extraordinary is the layers. When layers are cut softly into a bob, they create movement. And movement is everything. Hair that moves looks alive. Hair that moves looks healthy. Hair that moves looks like it belongs on someone full of energy, warmth, and joy. Flat, heavy, unlayered hair can sit on your head like a weight, visually pulling your features downward. But soft layers breathe life into every strand, and that life radiates directly onto your face. For silver, white, or salt and pepper hair, which is so strikingly beautiful at this stage of life, the layered bob is a dream come true. The layers catch light in the most flattering possible way, making your natural color glow rather than appear dull or flat. If you have been coloring your hair and quietly thinking about embracing your silver, this cut will make that transition feel like wearing a crown, not making a compromise. Women who go silver with this bob say people start complimenting their hair within days. One of the biggest concerns mature women share about their hair is volume. After 60, hair often becomes finer, softer, and harder to manage. The soft layered bob solves this beautifully, because the layers are distributed throughout the hair rather than concentrated only at the ends. They remove the dead weight that makes fine hair look limp. The result is hair that appears fuller, more voluminous, and naturally bouncy, with very little styling effort required. To style this cut, you need remarkably little. A round brush and a blow dryer, a touch of light mousse, or even a texturizing spray is all it takes. You can wear it smooth and polished for a refined, elegant look, or let it air dry with a little natural texture for something effortless and relaxed. Either way, it looks intentional. Either way, it looks like you just walked out of a salon, because in spirit, with this cut, you always will. When you sit in your stylist's chair, say these words: soft layers throughout, no blunt lines, collarbone length or just above. Simple, clear, and the result will be extraordinary. The modern textured pixie that adds youth and life. When most women hear the word pixie, they picture something severe, something clippered and boyish, something that might look daring on a 20-year-old, but feel too bold for a woman over 60. Let me gently change that picture for you today, because the modern textured pixie is something else entirely. It is soft, it is sophisticated, and on a mature woman, it can be absolutely breathtaking. The key word here is textured. This is not the military short pixie of decades past. The modern version has pieces left longer on top, soft texture through the crown, and wispy, feathered edges around the ears and neckline. It has personality and movement. When you catch your reflection, you see a woman who looks polished, refreshed, and entirely her own. Here is what the textured pixie does for a mature face. First, it draws every eye directly to your features. Your eyes, your cheekbones, your smile. There is nowhere for your face to hide, and that is actually a tremendous gift. When your hair is no longer a curtain, your natural radiance becomes the centerpiece of every room you enter. Women who choose this cut often share the same experience. People suddenly notice their eyes in a way they never quite did before. Something opens up. Something lights up. Second, it adds incredible visual lift to the facial structure. As we move through life, the face naturally softens and settles. A textured pixie, particularly when lifted slightly at the crown, creates a beautiful counterbalance. It draws the eye upward, adds height, and makes the entire face look more awake, more alive, and more youthful. Many stylists describe it as a natural visual facelift, and once you experience it, you will understand exactly why. Third, and this one genuinely surprises most women, the textured pixie is incredibly low maintenance. You might expect short hair to demand constant salon visits, but when cut correctly, this style holds its shape beautifully for several weeks. Daily styling takes roughly 5 minutes. A small amount of volumizing mousse, a little finger styling, and you are completely, effortlessly done. If your mornings feel rushed, this cut can be a quiet and wonderful revolution. If you have fine hair, this cut deserves your serious consideration. Fine hair often struggles to hold body and volume at longer lengths, leaving many women feeling limited in their options. But at a short, textured length, even the finest hair can look thick, lush, and abundantly full of life. The texture itself creates the illusion of density. The result is hair that looks genuinely luxurious and beautifully cared for. When discussing this with your stylist, ask for softness around the hairline, a little extra length on top for lift, and feathered edges rather than sharp lines. This is not a dramatic cut, it is a graceful one. And on a woman who carries herself with quiet confidence, it is pure and timeless elegance. The feathered shag that brings movement and warmth. If you grew up in the 70s or 80s, the shag cut holds a certain warmth. Those beautiful, feathered layers that seem to carry the spirit and ease of a whole era. But today's shag is not a throwback. It is something entirely its own, refined and reimagined for the modern woman. And it happens to be one of the most flattering and genuinely rejuvenating haircuts available for women over 60 right now. The feathered shag works at a range of lengths, from chin length all the way to the collarbone, which makes it wonderfully versatile and adaptable. What defines it is the layering system. The layers begin high, close to the crown, and cascade downward in soft, feathered sections throughout the entire length. This creates volume at the top and root area, which is precisely where mature hair tends to need the most support and lift. The result is hair that looks abundantly full from root to tip, with natural movement that feels entirely effortless. What makes this cut particularly special for women over 60 is how brilliantly it handles fine or thinning hair. Because the layers are distributed throughout the entire length rather than just the ends, fine hair is given structure and body it could not otherwise achieve on its own. Every section of the hair contributes to the overall fullness. Women with very fine hair who try the feathered shag often describe the experience as transformative, like their hair suddenly came alive for the first time in years. The face framing capability of this cut is equally extraordinary. The front pieces of the shag, particularly when cut to graze the cheekbones or softly brush the jawline, create a natural frame around your face that draws immediate attention to your best features. This framing effect can visually lift the face, soften any heaviness around the jaw, and make your eyes appear brighter and more prominent. It is a natural and deeply gentle form of flattery that works beautifully at every age. Another element that makes the feathered shag so lovely is how magnificently it suits natural silver and white hair. The layered texture catches light in a way that is absolutely breathtaking, and silver hair in particular seems to glow when cut this way. If you have been on the fence about embracing your natural color, the feathered shag might be the cut that finally makes that decision feel easy, joyful, and beautiful. Styling the feathered shag is simple and kind to your morning routine. You can diffuse it for a soft, natural wave, use a large barrel curling iron to enhance the movement of each layer, or even let it air dry for a beautifully effortless result. A light texturizing spray or a tiny amount of soft oil serum will keep everything looking polished without adding weight. Ask your stylist for long layers starting at the crown, feathered ends throughout, and face framing pieces at cheekbone or collarbone length. This is a cut that feels warm, free, and deeply flattering every single day. The long bob that says polished and timeless. There is a reason the long bob, so often simply called the lob, has remained one of the most beloved haircuts across generations and decades. It never feels old. It never feels out of place. It sits at that perfect, graceful point between short and long, offering the very best of both worlds. And for women over 60, it is one of the most quietly powerful and consistently beautiful choices available. The lob typically falls between the jawline and the collarbone, and that range gives it remarkable versatility. Depending on where your stylist places it, the lob can feel sleek and architectural, or soft and warmly romantic. It can be worn straight and smooth for a polished, put-together appearance, or with gentle waves for something warmer and more relaxed. What remains consistent in every version is how beautifully it frames the face, and how effortlessly it reads as elegant and intentional. For mature women, one of the most appealing qualities of the long bob is its ability to create the gentle illusion of length in the face. As we age, the face can begin to look slightly fuller or softer in certain areas. The lob, when cut with the right angles, slightly shorter in the back and angled longer toward the front, creates a subtle narrowing and lengthening effect that is deeply flattering. It is one of those optical illusions that works every single time, and it works entirely through the quiet art of exceptional cutting. The lob also pairs beautifully with a wide variety of styling approaches, making it deeply adaptable to your lifestyle. If you love to wear your hair simply, a blow-dried lob takes about 10 minutes and looks completely professional and intentional. If you enjoy a little more dimension, a few loose waves created with a large curling wand give the lob a soft, romantic quality that reads as genuinely sophisticated. You can also pin it back for formal occasions, tuck one side behind an ear for casual elegance, or wear it with a simple clip. The lob adapts to your life rather than asking you to adapt to it. For women with silver, white, or highlighted hair, the lob is particularly luminous. The length allows color and highlights to show their full, beautiful dimension. Balayage, platinum highlights, or soft face framing pieces all display magnificently at this length. If you have been considering a color refresh, the lob gives any colorist the perfect canvas to create something truly beautiful. Perhaps most importantly, the long bob ages gracefully alongside you. Unlike some shorter cuts that require very precise and frequent maintenance, the lob grows out beautifully and transitions through phases without ever looking unkempt or unintentional. It is a cut that works with your real life rather than demanding constant attention. Ask your stylist for a lob with soft internal layers, a subtle angle from back to front, and face framing pieces around the cheekbones. This single cut could change how you feel about your hair entirely. Curtain bangs and soft layers that open your face. There is one simple addition that can utterly transform an existing haircut, and it requires no dramatic length change, no entirely new style, no complete reinvention. It is curtain bangs. These soft, center-parted, face-framing wisps of hair have taken the beauty world by storm. And for women over 60, they are nothing short of a genuine revelation. Curtain bangs are not your mother's blunt fringe. They do not sit heavily across the forehead like a uniform wall of hair. Instead, they part gently in the middle, sweep softly to each side of the face, and blend seamlessly into the rest of the hair. They are wispy, light, and beautifully organic in their movement. When done with skill, they do not look like bangs at all. They look like your hair simply and naturally falls that way, as though you were born with them. What curtain bangs do for a mature face is remarkable and immediate. First, they shorten the appearance of a longer forehead, which is something many women notice changing after 60. Second, they draw the eye inward and upward, toward the center of your face, toward your eyes, adding a brightness and youthful focus to your entire expression. Third, they soften any angular areas around the face, giving everything a gentler, warmer, more youthful quality. It is a small change that creates an almost disproportionately large and beautiful impact. When paired with soft layers throughout the rest of the hair, the transformation becomes even more complete and stunning. The layers add movement and body to the overall shape, while the curtain bangs frame the face in a way that feels both intimate and intentional. The combination creates a look that is simultaneously modern and timeless, something that reads as current without feeling like it is following trends, and elegant without being stiff or formal. One of the most wonderful things about curtain bangs is how relatively low commitment they are. While they do require trimming every 4 to 6 weeks to maintain their shape, they grow out gracefully if you ever decide they are not for you. Many women who try them as a gentle experiment end up keeping them for years, because the difference in how they look and feel is simply too significant to give up. For styling, curtain bangs are refreshingly simple. A small round brush and a blow dryer, a gentle curl away from the face using a small iron, or even a few minutes with a diffuser if you have natural texture. All of these work beautifully. A tiny amount of light hold hairspray will keep them in place without stiffness or that helmet hair feeling. If you have been looking at your reflection and wishing something felt different without knowing exactly what to change, consider curtain bangs. Ask your stylist for soft, wispy curtain bangs blending into layers, with face framing pieces that graze the cheekbones. It is one of the simplest, most effective, most beautiful things you can do for your appearance right now. The side-swept wave that radiates classic elegance. Some haircuts speak of trends. They arrive, they dazzle for a season, and then they quietly fade. And then there are styles that exist entirely outside of trends. Styles worn by the most elegantly beautiful women in history, that feel as right today as they did 50 years ago. The side-swept wave is one of those styles, and on a woman over 60, it is something very close to timeless perfection. The side-swept wave works at many lengths, but it is most stunning at shoulder length or just above. It is defined by a deep side part and soft, flowing waves that sweep gracefully away from the face on one side, creating a gentle asymmetry that is extraordinarily flattering. Unlike tight curls or structured waves, the waves here are loose, relaxed, and entirely natural looking, as though they arrived on their own rather than being forced into place with effort and heat. What this style does for a mature face is quietly profound. The deep side part creates visual asymmetry, and asymmetry is one of nature's most powerful tools for adding interest and youth to a face. When everything is centered and perfectly symmetrical, the face can appear flat. A deep side part disrupts that flatness in the most graceful and elegant possible way, drawing the eye across the face in a sweeping, beautiful movement that feels entirely effortless. The waves themselves add a softness that is incomparably flattering. Faces change beautifully as we age, but the soft, organic movement of a wave is one of the most kind and generous things you can place beside your face. It echoes the natural curves of your features rather than contrasting against them. It creates warmth and a sense of ease that no stiff or structured style can replicate. It feels lived in and natural, and that naturalness is its greatest gift. For women with silver or white hair, this style is particularly luminous. Silver hair picks up light in a way that is simply extraordinary, and when it moves in gentle waves swept to one side, the effect can be genuinely breathtaking. If you have ever looked at a photograph of a silver-haired woman with softly flowing hair and thought, "That is exactly what I want," this is your gentle invitation to ask for it. Achieving this look requires very little. A large barrel curling iron or soft rollers, a little medium hold hairspray, and your fingers to gently loosen and shape the waves once they cool. You can refresh the look on a second or even third day with a few spritzes of texturizing spray and a quick reshaping with your hands. It holds beautifully and requires very little additional attention. Ask your stylist for a deep side part cut directly into the hairline, with layers that encourage natural movement, and a shape that falls softly across one shoulder. This is elegance in its most natural and enduring form. The textured wedge that lifts everything. Some haircuts work quietly. They do not announce themselves with drama or demand immediate attention. They simply do their work with precision and grace, and the results speak for themselves in a way that is impossible to ignore. The textured wedge cut is exactly that kind of haircut, one of the most underrated, under-discussed, and genuinely powerful cuts in the world of mature women's beauty. The textured wedge is a short to medium cut that is stacked in the back, meaning the hair is built in graduated layers that create volume and beautiful roundness at the back of the head, while the sides and top carry soft, feathered texture. The overall shape is compact, lifted, and wonderfully full. It creates the appearance of a beautifully rounded, abundant head of hair, which is especially meaningful for women who have experienced thinning at the crown or the nape. The most remarkable thing the textured wedge does is lift, and not just the hair, the entire face. Because the back is built with that stacked graduation, the crown appears taller and fuller, and when the crown rises, the whole face is visually elongated. Features that may have begun to settle look less heavy, more awake, and more radiant. It is a structural effect that happens quietly and naturally, and most people cannot put their finger on exactly why a woman wearing it looks so refreshed. They simply know that something about her is wonderful. For women with very fine or thinning hair, the wedge is particularly remarkable in what it achieves. The stacking in the back literally builds volume from almost nothing. It creates fullness through the architecture of the cut itself rather than relying on the actual thickness of individual strands. Even the finest hair looks abundant and healthy in a well-executed textured wedge. It is one of the most clever and effective solutions for fine hair that the art of hairdressing has ever created. The textured version of the wedge, as opposed to older, more geometric interpretations, adds a softness that makes the cut entirely modern and deeply wearable. Instead of hard, angular lines, the edges are gently feathered. Instead of a rigid shape, the overall form has a warm, organic quality. It moves naturally, responds to the breeze, and requires very little effort to look beautiful from morning through evening. Styling the textured wedge is wonderfully simple. A little volumizing mousse applied at the roots, a blow dry with a brush lifting the crown upward and outward, and perhaps a tiny amount of light wax or soft pomade to define the texture at the ends. The entire process takes fewer than 10 minutes, and the result is hair that looks intentional, polished, and effortlessly stylish every single day. Ask your stylist for a stacked wedge with soft, textured graduation and feathered edges. It lifts quietly and beautifully, and that quiet lift is something you will feel and love every single day. And there you have them, 7 beautiful, carefully chosen haircuts that have the genuine power to change how you look, how you feel, and how you move through every day of your life. Each one of these styles was selected with love and with intention. For the woman who is not afraid of this chapter of life, who knows that elegance only becomes deeper and richer with time. A great haircut is one of the most loving and affirming things you can do for yourself. It is not a small thing. It is not vanity. It is self-care in its most visible and joyful form. A declaration that you are still here, still growing, still blooming. And that matters more than most of us are ever told. If any of these 7 cuts spoke to you, I want you to save this video, share it with someone you love who might need it, and carry it with you to your next salon appointment. Show your stylist exactly what calls to your heart. You deserve to walk out of that chair feeling beautiful, seen, and entirely like yourself. The very best, most radiant version of yourself. Age is not something to fight against. It is something to wear with grace and pride. And a thoughtful, beautiful haircut is one of the most graceful ways to do exactly that. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path.